Greetings, brothers and sisters from the four corners of the world. I hope everyone is having a blessed and prosperous day, afternoon, and evening in your perspective lands. Ooh, we, brothers and sisters, into the fire. This is part five, into the fire. I wish the world looked as beautiful as this picture here, but into the fire. Every day we submerge closer and closer, and the heat just continues to turn up more and more and more and more. Now, I'm going to start by saying I'm going to quote this Iranian president that just said this week. He said, "So many things are happening at once that sometimes I have no idea what's going on." Brothers and sisters, these are world leaders, prophetical power hitters that the Most High is influencing, using, however you may call it. And look at what is occurring. He said, and I'll say it again, so many things are happening at once that sometimes I have no idea what's going on, end quote. So I'm going to start with the paper current events that I have, meaning I just took some notes, and then I'm going to show you the visuals, some visuals of different ones. So recently, all of a sudden, there has been a new discovered city found under, yes, I said city, under the pyramids of Giza or Giza in Egypt. I mean, nothing to watch there as the fallen are buried under these things, but no worries. It's just a little city. Turkey. Well, there was a protest about a opposition leader who was running for president, and all of a sudden he was unalived so that the president could stay in power. Which it was projected that if he was still alive, that president would no longer be in power. Serbia uses sound waves to disperse their riot crowds. No weapons, no tear gas. Sound waves that can cause you to permanently go deaf. It can change the patterns in your eyes to the point where you could even go blind. But hey, nothing to see there. France says to the United States, well, you know what? You don't look like a country of liberty anymore. So, we want our Statue of Liberty back. Hey, what is it that people see that people in the U.S. do not see? And then just some other crazy things. But let's begin. Let's look at what's going around in the world. So I'm going to start with the most comical, but probably the most controversial. So rapper Sexy Red, a CIA agent called Agent Bow Wow. We knew this was a man, but anywho, Agent Bow Wow. Hmm. It says they have been an informant for the CIA, a covert agent, a plant since 2018. In the leaked government documents, it revealed that they said her mission was culturally critical. Culturally critical to destroy young girls, ladies, younger ladies, older women, and even young men. It was culturally critical. Well, well, well. Gotta love the good old USA. Anything to make sure that people look so terrible. And people will wonder, how is this person famous? They're all CIA operatives. Now, here's the tricky part. Let's say, because there's a lot of churches that are CIA plants, like pastors, and they have informants and then their congregations and different things like that. As a minister, I would sit there and think, hmm, the government is starting to throw people under the bus. Think about that. Everyone who used to work for the government or still works for the government owes you nothing. And they're showing it just with this. Hmm. And I'm certain this person will come out. One of two things will happen. They'll either hide their face, which I highly doubt, or they'll deny it, and everyone will continue to like this heathen. Anywho, moving on to news. Overworked Koreans are now paying to be placed in a fake prison to get away from the world. It reads in South Korea, some people pay to be locked up in special mock prisons to escape their overly demanding work or academic lives. In one of the most overworked countries with a high rate of suicides, some Koreans say this fake prison gives them the freedom they no longer have. At the price of $90 per day, they pay to sleep on the floor in solitary confinement with no contact with the outside world. For many, it's a chance to get away from it all. This one broke my heart. Now, you see the article, it says 2018. But in an article I recently saw, it was just reported this year. So apparently, this has been going on for at least 7 to 8 years. This is sad. You got to be in the worst mental state to believe that solitary confinement is better than everyday life. And I'm not even blaming those people who are paying $90. I mean, because look at society. Look how nasty people are. Look how people are when they just want to get over, they just want to network, they just want to use and manipulate someone. That's draining. To always want something from someone, to be around someone, to just to benefit off of, that's draining. And in Korea and parts of Asia, they just can't seem to take it anymore. Brothers and sisters, the world is spiraling out of control faster than you can imagine. In more news, Donald J. Trump suggests that the United States should join Europe in a 56 member organization and said if King Charles makes an offer, yeah, the U.S. just may become a part of Europe. Why not? I mean, what a beast system, right? In more news, student loans in the United States. Now here they having these rates say they're going up by 5%, right? Let's say 5%. This is a bunch of shenanigans. It's foolery. I would tell you, and then you see private and different things, right? When I say that the United States is done with you people, and when I say you people, I mean black, white, brown, yellow, tan, turquoise, teal, whatever color you call yourself, creed, nationality, they are done with you. I don't know what else you need to see. They told you to get to school, and they said, well, we're going to destroy, and they got rid of the Department of Education. And now you have people, this is Austin, Texas. Austin borrower sues education department after monthly student loan payments increased by over 300%. This is March 25, 2025. Now, this Business Insider numbers ain't the same because they given these little numbers. Okay. So for those of you, and I'm sorry if I offend someone who believes that these small numbers still exist. No, 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 no. They're going to keep going up. They're going to keep going up. Keep this in mind. Keep this in mind. Now, let's see what her payments were and what they are now. It says an Austin lawyer is suing the U.S. Department of Education for preventing borrowers from repaying their federal student loans based on their income. So no longer will you be able to play this game based on your income. They say back in the 2000s they used to say it's my money and I want it now. I don't care what you got going on. I don't care if someone's dying. I don't care if you got no arms and two legs. I don't care if you got no legs and two arms. I want my money. I don't care if you can't pay your bills. I don't care if you have transportation to work. I want it. And they're going to give it to me the way I want it. This is the United States saying, Mr. Nice Guy, Mr. Luxury, Mr. You thought you had it in the bag. You thought you could just maneuver life as you wanted. Those times are over. You're finished. It says Ashley Morgan, 35, has been enrolled in an income driven repayment plan for the last 8 years. But when she tried to recertify her income last month, she couldn't. She said that without warning, without warning, the education department removed the income recertification form and applications for IDR plans from studentaid.gov. As a result of losing access to this type of plan, she said her monthly student loan payments more than quadrupled from $507 a month to 2,000, almost 25,000 a month. 2,500, excuse me. That's like a mortgage. No one is asking you questions if you can afford it. They're going to take it, and no one cares. They're going to take it, and no one cares. Also, the American Federation of Teachers has also filed a lawsuit for suspending. Because, yeah, teachers don't make much of nothing in the United States, let alone anywhere. Yep, they set the playing field, and now they're taking everything back. In more news, three prominent Yale professors depart from Canada for Canadian University citing Trump fears. This is March 27, 2025. And one of these professors was a professor teaching fascism and dictatorship. And he said, I'm out of here. He said, I'm gone. I'm going to sit here and teach what I see and just sit. I'm smarter than this. Apparently, he wasn't that smart because Canada's kind of the same. But hey, whatever. I mean, Canada, you got a little wiggle room right now, right? Little wiggle room. It reads three prominent critics of President Donald Trump are leaving Yale's faculty in the United States amid attacks on higher education to take up positions at the University of Toronto in fall 2025. Now, Minister Yashab told you, get out of that place. Everyone said, no, you're crazy. Said, no, I can't do it. I told you opportunities would come. You just have to look for them. I'm telling you, if I was in that place in the U.S., and I had an opportunity, well, no one know. I'm just gonna go. You're not gonna know. I'm gonna tell you right now. It's just you see me one day, you don't see it. Because of how things are flowing in that country. You don't know who's an informant. You don't know who's down with that system, and things is just getting worse there. It says philosophy professor Jason Stanley announced this week that he will leave Yale, while history professors Timothy Snyder and Marcy Shore, who are married, decided to leave around the November elections. The three professors will work at Toronto's Munk School of Global Affairs and Public Policy. Stanley wrote in the Daily Nous that his decision to leave was entirely because of the political climate in the United States. He told The Guardian that he chose to move after seeing how Columbia University handled political attacks from Trump. After Trump administration threatened to deport two student protesters at Columbia and revoked $400 million in research funding from the school, Columbia agreed on Friday to concede to a series of demands from the Trump administration that include overhauling its protest policies and imposing external oversight of the school's Middle Eastern Studies Department. Wow. AKA just watching everyone who's in there, students and faculty. When I saw Columbia completely catapult and I saw this vocabulary of, well, we're going to work behind the scenes because we're not going to get targeted, the whole way of thinking presupposes that some universities will get targeted and you don't want to be one of those universities. And that's just a losing strategy. I just became very worried because I didn't see a strong enough reaction in the other universities to side with Columbia. Yale has not released a statement addressing the revocation of Columbia's funding. Yale College Dean Pericles Lewis has told the news that he does not anticipate any changes in Yale's free expression and protest policies. University President Maury McInnes previously said that she is prioritizing lobbying for Yale's interests in Washington over issuing public pronouncements. You see what's going on. All things will be in the description as well. You see what's going on? Yeah. Okay. Moving forward, more in the news. Trump gives a letter to Iran saying you have 2 months to get on board, or we're gonna get it cracking. 2 months. 2 months. One, two, one, two, 2 months. After the after they had a meeting, and then you can see there was a meeting 2 weeks ago, interview. Okay. Iranian leader, direct negotiations. Obviously, they go back and forth to Qatar and the UAE, meeting in Abu Dhabi. And they said, Iranians said, we don't care what you do. We don't care if you sanction us, if you send troops. We don't care what you do. That's where we stand. You do something, we gonna do something. You don't do something, we still gonna do something. That's how Iran was moving. Just, understanding, what's going on in the world, right? But, it's okay because Minister Yashab told you, you better run out of that place because Trump administration ends collective bargaining for 50,000 airport security officers. And you're like, what the heck does this mean? That means end collective bargaining. So once he got rid of President January 20th, forced out TSA administrator. Once he got rid of him, then he dropped the bomb on him and said, well, let's just get rid of TSA altogether and put private security, BlackRock and different organizations in the airport. No more TSA. We're going to do military. in the airports. You got a few months, but we gonna make America great again. You hear? Now, if you are in the U.S. and this doesn't scare you, and you're still gonna think that you're gonna maneuver for another year and different things like this, I'm sorry, you're the dumbest individual alive. This is the worst thing possible. And yes, I said it as a minister. I said I call someone dumb. That's right. First, it was about security from Muslims and and people flying things into planes, into buildings. They made you take off your belt. They made you take off your shirt. Some people they search, they strip search. They made you take off your shoes, your socks, and now we're gonna get rid of it all. Oh, you know what this is for? Well, if your name is on a government list, even if you got a passport, you ain't going nowhere once that gets pushed. Militarization, militarization of public transportation. It reads, and this is March 27, 2025. It reads, Republican senators are debating a measure on Thursday to abolish TSA, which they say has intruded into the privacy and personal space of Americans. It says the TSA not only intruded into privacy and personal space of Americans, it has also repeatedly failed tests to find weapons and explosives. Our bill privatizes security functions at American airports under the eye of an Office of Aviation Security Oversight, bringing this bureaucratic behemoth to a welcome end. They mean they try to introduce a behemoth. It says American families can travel safely without feeling the hands of an army of federal employees. Excuse me? Do I look stupid? Now they're saying they're going to abolish the TSA by 2028. That's what they said now. To abolish the TSA 3 years after being enacted into law. Hmm. I said Most High in the last lesson. I said Most High don't know what listen. And that's why I said people is dumb because I'm getting so frustrated. A lot of people have failed their opportunities, have missed their opportunities. All for what? I'm uncomfortable. I don't want to do it. I mean, who's going to be there with me? Didn't you say you serve the Most High? Didn't you say you'll serve Him? Didn't you say you'll go where He says to go? Didn't you say you'll follow the shepherd's voice? This is going to happen before 2028. I can assure you this. Now, if it doesn't, I'm letting you know. It would be an act of the Almighty because the Almighty can do it if He wanted to. But this would be an act of the Most High if it actually went through in 2028. Do I believe it's going to happen in 2028? No. I think it's going to happen somewhere by 2026, maybe the end of 2025. 2026, the latest 2027. What you think about what can possibly go wrong? What can possibly go wrong? Now, Florida, that's in Babylon. Florida lawmakers advance bill to ease child labor restrictions to fill employment gap. I'm saying if you got children, you better run from this place. I'm telling you, they got rid of the immigrants and now they want your children to work in place of them. Is anything not alarming to those people in Babylon? I'm going to repeat again. They got rid of, and they're still getting rid of who they deemed as immigrants just to say, I want your 14 and 15-year olds, I want them out of middle school to start working for me. It says it's removing restrictions for 14 and 15-year olds who have graduated, who are homeschooled, or attend virtual school, aka we want your kids to work 30 hours a week. It says they would be able to work more than 8 hours a day on school nights, 30 hours a week without mandated breaks. You will not turn my child into a slave. No, you will not turn my child into a slave. What? You will not turn my child into a slave. But you see, the problem is no one thinks this wouldn't happen. The problem is no one thinks this wouldn't happen until the Bible says, then they shall carry away captive. And look, who has they shall spoil it and mar the beauty of the face. They hold on. Let me hold. Because they gonna take. No, follow me. Follow the scriptures, okay? It says, like as thou hast done to my chosen, saith the Lord, even so shall God do unto thee, and shall deliver thee into mischief. And for the sake of not getting blocked, read it. Thy blank shall of hunger, they shall be in the mountains, and shall die of hunger, eating their own flesh. In the passage, they shall rush on the idle city, and shall destroy some portion of thy land, and consume part of the glory, and shall return to Babylon that was destroyed. Thy children shall they carry away captive. Now, listen here. Listen here. I said, Most High, this is dangerous and it's evil. This is dangerous and it's evil. You're going to enslave. But hey, let me just read an article through it for you, okay? Let me read an article for you. Florida has been working for years to crack down on employers that hire undocumented immigrants. But that presented a problem for business in the state that are desperate for workers to fill low wage and often undesirable jobs. The Florida Republican governor and state legislature has a potential solution. They want the children. State legislator on Tuesday advanced a bill that will loosen child labor laws, allowing children as young as 14 years old to work overnight shifts. Hmm. If the new law is passed, teenagers would be able to work overnight jobs on school days. What happened to education? What happened to them getting their rest, studying, hitting the books hard? It says they are currently prevented from working earlier than 6:30 a.m. and later than 11 p.m. per state law. The bill passed through Florida Senate Commerce and Tourism Committee on Tuesday with 5 votes in favor of the loosened child labor restrictions and 4 against them. The bill will pass through 2 other relevant committees before being put to a vote with the full Florida Senate. Says DeSantis, who is that Florida governor, is supportive of the law and has been vocal of cracking down on immigration. However, economists have warned that that could backfire, sparking further inflation and labor shortages. I'm going to be the first one to say, screw your labor shortages. You're supposed to be protecting children. You're supposed to be teaching them, not forcing them to become adults. They can't even make half of the decisions properly. It reads, why do we say we need to import foreigners, even import them illegally, when you know teenagers used to work at these resorts? College students should be able to do this stuff. 14? That's all I'm going to say, y'all. That's all I'm going to say. And then, April 2nd, U.S. President is calling for America Liberation Day, April 2nd. You go ahead and Google April 2nd, is Global Trade War Day, aka prepare for more things to go up all over the world. And more so specifically, anything that is dealing with the US. Now, there are some crazy things. I mean, people trying to run all over the world. And I saw this and I said, most high people are desperate for change. And I said, wow. So what you see is a Ghanaian pastor, supposedly, praying over people's passports to be accepted so they can leave their country. Everyone in every country seems to want to leave. Praying over passports. Do you not understand now? I'm not agreeing with this. I'm agreeing over praying over the Most High's will, let it be done, and asking the Most High to reveal to you what you should do and how you should do it, and to put a little boot in your behind because us as His creation, we procrastinate because we like comfort. But do you not see that people all over the world are looking to leave their prospective lands? This is not the first time that this so called pastor, like I said, I don't agree with it, but says things like this. And yes, taking money to pray over your passport for a visa acceptance. This is a disgrace because a lot of people actually want to leave their prospective lands and they don't have the ability. Do you see Satan is using individuals like this to kind of slap it in people's faces and say, ha ha, I know how bad you want to leave. You'll do anything to leave. You don't see what's happening. The windows of opportunity are closing worldwide. You don't see what's happening? The windows all over the world are closing, and they're closing quickly. But Ministry Shop told you in the end of 2023, the very beginning of 2024, I told you, watch for your opportunity. Many people didn't listen. Many people waited. Many people waited. And now, the US has got this thing going on with Canada. This comes out from the new Canadian finance minister.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over. What exactly the United States does next is unclear. But what is clear is that we as Canadians have agency. We have power. We are masters in our own home. Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. We can control our destiny. We can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away. We can deal with this crisis best by building our strength right here at home. It will take hard work. It will take steady and focused determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States. We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere. And we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in generations.
Now, for some that sounds startling, let's look up this word Canada. Yeah? Canada. The word Canada is a Latinized form of a word for village in the Iroquoian language. Excuse me if I butcher it. Kanata, which means town or village. Hmm. Now let's see this word village. Inhabited assemblage of houses larger than a hamlet, but smaller than a town. Houses and other buildings in a group. Country house, villa. A village, just a small home. Now, me as a minister, I break this down real good. In town, you can see enclosure, inhabited place, some degree. Your village, a group of houses, farms, your hedge, which is also mentioned in the Bible, right? Now, with this understanding, run it back one more time. This is not just a sign for Canadians. This is a sign for the entire Western Hemisphere, including Mexico. Okay, let's go.
The old relationship we had with the United States, based on deepening integration of our economies and tight security and military cooperations, is over.
So, the relationship you once had with the United States, what you thought the United States once was, that should be finished. Now, mind you, this man is no different from Donald Trump. He is an economist, he's a banker. As a president, this is a message for the people. What you thought you knew about that place, please get rid of it.
What exactly the United States does next is unclear.
So, no one knows what the U.S. is going to do, but it's going to be wild.
But what is clear, is that we as Canadians have agency.
So, those in your village have agency. Love the word. Now, if you've been with me for a while, you paid attention to the New Heaven and New Earth series that I did. You understand? We went through Shabu and we went through all of the agency. Think about it now. Let's play it back. Canada means village. This is for people in the Western Hemisphere.
What is clear, what is clear, is that we as Canadians have agency.
So those in your village have agency,
We have power.
and you have power.
We are masters in our own home.
So going back to village, now to individual homes.
Nous sommes maîtres chez nous. We can control our destiny.
We can control our own destiny.
We can give ourselves much more than any foreign government, including the United States, can ever take away.
So at this point, the Most High is using this man and saying, are you still tied to this country, or do you believe that I can give you much better than what you're used to? A lot of people on that side of the world, they tend to cleave to, oh, America, America, America. What can I do? It's the greatest country. Opportunity, opportunity. America, America. I got to get to America. Most High say one last time.
We can deal with this crisis best by building our strength right here at home.
So the Most High is saying through this man, there is no more time. It's going to get worse, and those with you are those with you. And you're going to get through the crisis with those who are locked in with you. Anyone outside of your home, anyone outside of your village, they're an outsider. Matthew 25. Matthew 25. And I was watching this and I said, I told people a while ago. I told people a while ago, you better. Some people gonna be upset when the doors close, but can you imagine Noah opening the door to the ark for all them people? What would have happened to his family?
It will take hard work.
And everyone in your village is gonna have to work like they've never worked before.
It will take steady and focused determination from governments, from businesses, from labor, from Canadians.
From everyone in your village. Now, governments, we understand there are governments in the body of Christ. That means everyone is going to have to pull their weight. There is no long, there is no more, oh, well, I follow minister such and such. Well, what weight are you pulling? How does it contribute everyone? And if it doesn't contribute everyone, get the stepping. That's what the Most High is sharing. That is what the Almighty is sharing. You, everyone, especially in the Western Hemisphere, your village better be so tight because what's coming next, it's going to require more than you've ever experienced in life.
We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States.
And why is it going to become hard? Because the world is going to go through a phase of what? He just said it. He just said it.
From Canadians. We will need to dramatically reduce our reliance on the United States.
To dramatically reduce reliance upon Babylon. Therefore, if anyone is so tightly knit to Babylon, the journey of the remnant does not want you. I'm going to say it now. Because those doors, hey, if you don't listen, we've been doing this, people, not just myself, we've been talking about this for years. I said this for years. One of the very first lessons I put up after the discernment was about the virgins and the oil. And people thought, what? We're just going to listen and talk. And hey, I can't. And some people are going to look at it as harsh. But if you did not prove as to what you can contribute to the Most High and Noah's Ark, Noah's family, those with him, the animals, if you didn't have a job to contribute to that village, Noah wasn't letting you in that ark. Didn't you get it? If you don't contribute to the village, you are not allowed on the ark. You can see the ark, you can sniff the ark, you can be around the ark, you can walk around the ark, you can even know where the ark is. But you're not getting in that ark unless one, the Most High, said you are getting on the ark, and two, unless the Most High's minister, Noah, saw that you was contributing to that village that was on that ark.
We will need to pivot our trade relationships elsewhere. And we will need to do things previously thought impossible at speeds we haven't seen in general.
Now, you will need to do things at a speed so fast, things that you thought were impossible. This is the standard for the body of Christ. We're talking about moving, moving, moving. You're a procrastinator. I promise you, no body of Christ will want you. If you are procrastinating, if you got your own things going on, no body of Christ anywhere in the world is going to want you. I'm going to let you know. There are no individuals. There is the shepherd, who is Christ. There is the ministers and those who help in the body of Christ, who are the leaders in the body of Christ. And then there's the sheep. There's the sheep that come into the ark. You see? But all the sheep got to contribute something. Excuse me. You wonder why Minister Yashab said, hey, get your talents up, start working, start working, start working. I would have been a bad minister to tell you not to tell you to start working, because no matter where you are, people are going to want to see what you can contribute to that village. I'm not going to let you in my home. I'm not going to let you in my village. And you can't contribute to the village. You can't be serious, right? This is a time where moving slow is not going to exist, brothers and sisters. Either you're going to be in it all the way or you're going to be out of it. And it's going to be so easy to recognize procrastinators from the doers. You might as well call this next phase of life from 2025 moving forward. The Most High is looking and weeding the goats from the sheep, the doers from the procrastinators. And with the procrastinators, there's also listeners. Because a lot of people listening, or should I say, a lot of people here, but they ain't listening to what's being told. And then in the White House and America, you have this.
Through your leadership, you embody the values of our Christian faith and love for the gospel. You remind me of the great Roman Emperor Constantine the Great. this emperor, your dear Mr. President, is the one who founded and built the magnificent city of Constantinople, my birthplace, known, known today as Istanbul. It is my great honor to present you with this holy cross. This cross is the very symbol that led this great Roman Emperor Constantine to victory. As Christ revealed to him in a vision, he said, "En tuto nica," told the emperor, means go with this and be victorious, Mr. President. This cross is an everlasting symbol of peace and an invincible trophy, a sign of divine strength and guidance. With this cross, I pray you bring peace to the world and make America invincible.
Now, don't get scared now, because first he was Nebuchadnezzar, and now he's Constantine. First he was Nebuchadnezzar, and now he's. Some of y'all don't even know who Constantine is, do you? Some of y'all are gonna say, "Well, he just created paganism in the church." Silly you. He did more than that. He did a lot more. He's the one who pick and chose certain things and tore apart the Bible, which so many denominations argue over today. He's the reason why most people don't believe in the Apocrypha. He's the reason most people don't believe in the pseudegraphia. He's the reason why people don't believe the children, the real children of Israel, have been scattered across the four corners of the earth. He's the beginning of it. And yes, he killed people too. No, 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 no. And he's the reason why so many things were taken out of the gospel. Because, oh, by the way, the claim is that he created the New Testament. Wow. He was the one who set the canon for the New Testament. Now, what this means is this individual is about to make laws that is going to deem certain understandings in certain books of the Bible as heresy. And well, you know what that means. I mean, you know what that means. Mm, 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 mm. I mean, it's all right. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. You know what? Something major is about to happen. And you know, they said, "Oh, President Trump, we want you to make America invincible." But remember, this is you talking to Nebuchadnezzar and Constantine now. These are some heavy titles now. But everything's okay. Everything's all right. We are into the fire. Maybe you just have no idea yet. Baruch chapter 6. And originally, I was just going to read a few, but I was going to read from 55 to 73, but let's read through it, shall we? It reads, a copy of the letter which Jeremiah sent to those about to be led captive to Babylon by the king of the Babylonians to inform them of the instructions which God had given them. Because of the sins you have committed before God, you are to be deported. Funny how we're using these terms now, right? Immigration, deported. Anywho, because of the sins you have committed before God, you are to be deported to Babylon by Nebuchadnezzar, king of the Babylonians. Once you have reached Babylon, you will stay there for many years, as long as 7 generations. Hmm. After which I will bring you home in peace. Now in Babylon, you will see gods made of silver, of gold, of wood, being carried shoulder high, filling the pagans with fear. Be on your guard. Do not imitate the foreigners. Do not have any fear of their gods as you watch their worshippers flocking before and behind them. Instead, say in your hearts, Master, it is you that we have to worship. For my angel is with you. Your lives will be in his care. And meaning, Master means the Most High. Plated with gold and silver, their tongues polished smooth by craftsmen, they are counterfeit and have no power to speak. As though for a girl fond of finery, these pagans take gold and make crowns for their heads of their gods. Sometimes the priests actually filch gold and silver from their gods to spend themselves, even using it on presents for the temple's prostitutes. Hmm, that's right. Crazy, isn't it? They dress up these gods of silver and gold and wood and clothes like human beings, although they cannot protect themselves either from tarnish or woodworm. In spite of the purple cloaks they drape them in, their faces even have to be dusted, owing to the dust of the temple which settles thick on them. One holds like a sceptre, like the governor of a province, yet is powerless to put anyone who offends him to death. Another holds a sword and an axe in the right hand, yet is powerless to defend himself against war or thieves. From this it is evident that they are not gods. Do not be afraid of them. Just as a pot in common use becomes useless once it is broken, so are these gods enshrined inside their temples. Their eyes full of dust raised by the feet of those who enter. Just as the doors are locked on all sides on the man who has offended the king and is under the sentence of death, so the priests secure the temples of these gods with gates and bolts and bars for fear of burglary. They light more lamps than for themselves, and the gods cannot see one of them. They are like one of the temple beams gnawed away from within. So they, by termites, which creep out of the ground and eat them, and their fine clothes too. They are unaware that their faces are blackened by the smoke that rises from the temple. Bats, swallows, birds of every kind flutter over their bodies, and heads and cats prowl there. From all this you can see for yourselves that they are not gods. Do not be afraid of them. The gold which they are plated is fine enough to look at, but if someone does not rub off the tarnish, these gods will not do much shining on their own. They felt nothing while they were being cast. However much was paid for them, there is still no breath of life in them. Being unable to walk, they have to be carried on men's shoulders, which shows how futile they are. It is humiliating for their worshippers, too, who have to stand them up again if they fall over. Once they have been stood up, they cannot move on their own. If they tilt askew, they cannot. Themselves offerings made to them might as well be made to dead men. Whatever is sacrificed to them, the priests resell and pocket the profit, while their wives salt down part of it, but give nothing to the poor or to the helpless. As to the sacrifices themselves, why women during their periods and women in childbed are not afraid to touch them. As you can see from these examples that are not gods, do not be afraid of them. Indeed, how can they be called gods when women do offering to these gods of silver, gold, and wood? In their temples, the priests stay sitting down with their garments torn, heads and beard shaved, and with their heads uncovered. They roar and shriek before their gods, as people do at a funeral feast. The priests take the robes of the gods to clothe their own wives and children. Whether these garments are treated badly or well, they are incapable of paying back either treatment. It is incapable, too, of making or unmaking kings, equally incapable of distributing wealth or money. If anyone fails to honor a vow he has made to them, they can not call him to account. They can neither save a man from death nor rescue the weak from the strong, nor restore sight to the blind, nor save someone in trouble, nor take pity on a widow, nor be generous to an orphan. These wooden gods plated with gold and silver are about as much as rocks cut out of the mountainside. Humiliation awaits their worshippers. So how can anyone think or say they are gods? The Chaldeans themselves do them no honor. If they find someone who is dumb and cannot speak, they present him to Bel, entreating him for the gift of speech, as if he could hear them. And they are incapable of drawing the conclusion in abandoning those gods. Such is their lack of common sense. Women with strings round their waists sit in the streets burning brand like incense. When one of these has been picked up by a passerby and been to bed with him, she then twits her neighbor for not being singled out and for not having her string broken. Everything going on anywhere near these gods is spurious. So how can anyone think or say that they are gods? Made by woodworkers and goldsmiths, they are only what those workmen decide to make them. The makers have not long to live themselves, so how can the things they make be gods? Their legacy to their descendants is nothing but illusion and disappointment. If war or disaster occur, the priests discuss where best to hide themselves and these gods. How can anyone fail to realize that they are not gods if they cannot save themselves from war, from disasters? And since in any case they are only made of wood plated with gold and silver, and it must be obvious from all this that they are spurious. And plain to everyone, to nations as to kings, they are not gods, but the work of human hands, and that there is no divine activity in them. Can there be anyone still unconvinced that they are not gods? They can neither appoint a king over a country, nor give reign to mankind, nor regulate their own affairs, nor rescue anyone who suffers a wrong. They are as helpless as crows between sky and ground. If fire falls on the temples of these wooden gods, plated with gold or silver, their priests fly to safety, while they, of their part, stay there like beams to be burnt. They cannot put up any resistance to a king or to enemies, so how can anyone think or say that they are gods? These wooden gods, plated with gold and silver, cannot evade thieves or martyrs. Violent men may rob them of their gold and silver and make off with the robes they are dressed in. Yet they are powerless to help even themselves. Better to be a king displaying his prowess, a household pot of use to its owner, than to be these false gods and merely the door of a house protecting what is inside than these false gods, or a wooden pillar in a palace than these false gods. The sun, the moon, the stars, which shine and have been given work to do, are obedient. Similarly, the lightning, as it flashes, is a fine sight. It is the same way. The wind blows across every country. The clouds execute the order God gives them to pass over the whole earth, and the fire sent from above to consume mountain and forest carries out its orders. Now these gods are not their equal either in beauty or in power. So no one can think or say that they are gods, powerless as they are to administer justice or do men any good. Therefore, knowing that they are not gods, do not be afraid of them. They can neither curse nor bless kings, nor produce signs in heaven for nations, nor shine like the sun, nor shed light like the moon. They are, the animals are better off than they are, being able to make for cover and look after themselves. There is not the slightest shred of evidence that they are gods. Do not be afraid of them. Their wooden gods plated with gold and silver are like a scarecrow in a melon patch protecting nothing. Again, their wooden gods plated with gold and silver are like a thorn bush in a garden. Any bird may perch on it, or like a corpse thrown into the dark. From the purple and fine linen rotting on their backs, you will see, you will recognize that they are not gods, and in the end, eaten away themselves, they will be a disgrace to the country. Better than a virtuous man who has no idols. Disgrace will never come near him. And that's full stop there. And you may be wondering, what was the reasoning of reading this entire chapter? So many things are going on, and either people are losing hope or they're cleaving to these wrong ideologies. And what's happening, or shall I say, what's about to occur, is that due to all this false information, due to all these false denominations, due to all these false doctrines, people are going to look foolish. Nothing new under the sun. People are going to look foolish. And you're going to see how evil and twisted Nebuchadnezzar and Constantine are. I think he uh, he also killed like members of his family. He killed his wife, then married another woman. I mean, he to sit there and call him Constantine. No, that's not a good thing. That's not a good thing at all, brothers and sisters. Now, I proposed to you all before in the last lesson. I said, brothers and sisters, can you see the signs, especially those in the Western Hemisphere? Can you see the signs that things are bad? Can you see? I'm not sure you do, but I hope and pray that at least some of you can say, well, Minister Yashab tried to warn us. Minister Yashab gave us these lessons long before they were coming. Just as Christ would do, he would give you the warning long before so you could prepare yourself. Into the fire. I know I really went over one or two scriptures, but I really wanted to hit home the current events that's occurring. I'll show you how serious this is. Things are not getting better in the world, things are getting worse. And just as these politicians, these powers that be, are a lot of them are intertwined with Lucifer and the fallen, that is how fast you have to work. That is how fast you have to discern. That is how fast you have to understand what the Most High wants for you, because Satan is done with taking breaks. Satan is done with taking breaks. He's like, you had your little time. It's my time now. And I need to set this up. That whole stopping people from going from countries to countries and deporting people. I told y'all the spiritual migration first. And then what did they do to all of those who they supposedly claim? They start putting them in Guantanamo Bay, put them in El Salvador maximum prison, different places, right? Told you. Now they're getting rid of the people who's actually hard workers, family, men and women, business owners, and now they want your children to work for them. Let's not forget, they abolished the Department of Education. Abolish the Department of Education and then pass laws about your children working. It's almost as if it's clear as day. I could care less about your kids going to school. What I really want them to do is slave. Are you seeing all the signs? Some people are going to try and get out at a later time and they're going to realize they can't. If you've been following the journey of Remnant Ministries, you understood I told you 2 years ago. Heck, I've been telling you to become a pilgrim long before. Understand, brothers and sisters, we came out the water and we stepped into the fire. But do understand, not everyone is going to come out of that fire. With that being said, brothers and sisters, the heat is turning up. Are you prepared to endure just the middle level of heat? So we haven't even reached the middle yet. And if you are, can you withstand the highest level of heat without asking for a break, without crying to the Most High? Can you stay composed in that heat? Because trial and tribulation is coming. But once again, just because we all step into the heat doesn't mean we will all walk out of it. Shabbat Shalom.